That is the structural issues that fans are talking about, that the team can do better. We can find a way of creating that balance of scoring and also preventing other teams from cutting through us so easily. It's as simple as that.
Not with the personnel that we have.
Not with the personnel that we have, but we did it last
with
season with Casemiro and
last season,
with Eriksen next to him. And we're not being cut through that easily like that, Kwame.
Season, your reference. I'll refer you back to last season.
It's another back-to-back defeat in the Premier League for Manchester United, which has seen the top four hopes of Man United dashed once again. After 27 games, United have won 14 and has lost 11 games so far in the season. A lot has been, discussed. A lot is being said by United fans. But we are here on United and Everything Football Podcast to give you a reaction of the game that we played against Manchester City. For some of us, it played out the way we expected. I mean, the game plan, you expected a better scoreline, but somehow we couldn't sustain ourselves until the 55th minute when Phil Foden got that equalizer and Manchester City going on to get the winner. And then the third goal to dash the hopes of Manchester United so far, ensuring that we couldn't get anything out of the game. So I'm here with Kwame Nchubu to discuss the game. We are going to look at the game, everything around the game, and why we felt that United couldn't win. Kwame, the last time we were here, we were not so confident about United winning this game, and well, you can't expect anything. I mean, there are a plethora of issues, the injuries, issue with the structure of the team, the way we are playing, and all of that. Interestingly, we changed the way we are playing right now. But your general thoughts before we go into the game proper. I mean, how would you feel? How would you feel after the game?
I rather feel that strangely, weirdly, I feel like there are positives to take out of the performance than the actual results, because we are expected to didn't expect anything out of this game. But then I think we started the game well, but eventually as the game wore on, the gulf in class, the depth in quality between the two teams definitely showed, and ultimately resulted in the result that we saw. But then they showed a bit of fight, a bit of guts, but then
it is what it is. It is what it is. It is what it is.
It's what it is.
Okay. Let's go for a quick break. When we come back.
Fans are surprised. Most United fans are surprised.
Anyway, let's go for a quick break. When we come back, we'll just delve into the game proper. We'll look at the setup, how we played, the result itself, and what to expect. I'll ask Kwame whether we can make top four. He's been very hopeful. If you've watched our previous episodes, he's been upbeat. I will test to see whether he still has that energy. But remember, hit the subscribe button if this is the first time you are watching us on this podcast. We realize from our start that you are watching and subscribing. Please remember to hit the subscribe button and also hit the notification bell if this is the first time you are watching. And if you've been watching and you've not subscribed, it's very important to us. We'll be right back after this. Please stay with us. Okay, thank you very much for staying with us here on United and Everything Football Podcast. We are just doing a quick post-match analysis of the game we played against Manchester City at the Etihad Stadium. Prior to this game, since Pep Guardiola came, we had won 4 at the Etihad in our last 8. Fortunately, Pep Guardiola had another one over us. It's a game I really wish Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the coach for us, just for this game, so that nobody misquotes me, because he seemed to have found a way of beating Pep Guardiola at the Etihad. He was a nemesis for Pep Guardiola at the Etihad. But Kwame, Ten Hag has been to the Etihad twice. It's not been good. This time around, the game plan looked a lot more better. I mean, the game plan, a lot of people would have expected that United go into this game with. I want to ask you a question. You've been so big on, or you've tried to explain, let me put it this way so that I don't misquote you. You've tried to explain why Ten Hag has been insistent on playing the style of play that he's seeking to instill in the team. What made his mind change this time around to go and sit in deep and catch City on the break? Why didn't he stick to his, how do you call it, his front football and all of that?
I think City made us play the way that we played, not the other way around. When the game started, we actually did try go boot for boot with them for 15, 20 minutes, where we created certain openings on the break. But as the game wore on, you could see City put their stamp on the game, gain complete authority over the football game. Another factor that went into how we sort of ceded possession to them was the fact that we scored first. We are a transition-based team. We are built that way. We are built to play quickly on the break. The best thing that happened to our backline, our choice of sitting back, was that we actually went ahead in the game. We're hoping to hit them on the break and play balls in behind them to create more opportunities. But as the game wore on, City forced us back. It's quite interesting to discuss, because by forcing us back, it allows certain players in the back line to play to their strengths. The likes of Rafa Varane and then Johnny Evans wouldn't want to push too high up the pitch. But in the first 20 minutes, when we were trying to get the first goal, we had to play higher up. Phil Foden, City played a couple of balls in behind our defense. Phil Foden had one-on-one situations. It was happening. It wasn't like we set out straight away to be defensive or just to defend our box. That's not happened. Let's not do revisionism over here. That is not what happened. We got the first goal. City tried to hit back. We were forced to defend our box, and we did it diligently for a long period of time until clearly you could see that we needed more. We needed more, and we didn't have more. Johnny Evans had to go off after 60 minutes. We had to reshuffle an already makeshift backline, bring on the likes of Kambuela and all those kind of things to do a job. And it was just a huge ask at the end of the day. City had more Arsenal on the bench to throw on. We had the likes of Forson and Anthony to come and do something for us. The golf in class, the depth in quality over stages of the game began to show. It was so clear as the game wore on that City were going to be on top. They were going to create enough to open us up. And by the 80th minute, we just couldn't hold the fort anymore. Just couldn't. We had near opportunities where certain decisions may have gone our way that may have altered the results. A decision on, was it Edison on Garnacho just before City scored again? One could say if those decisions probably went our way, they may have changed the result. But you look at the start line at the end of the day, 27, 28 shots to 2. It was one team hanging on, one team banging on the door for close to 90 minutes, and eventually the door did open. I couldn't have asked for any more than what the team actually put out there today. You just can't ask more from the squad. Of the money that we've spent so much money, so much. We started the game with 5 academy players. Johnny Evans at the back, Meno in the middle, Scott McTominay, Garnacho, Rashford. We spent so much, yet we still have to turn to Carrington. Carrington to try and survive. And when we had to bring players on, it was still Carrington that we're still relying on. That shouldn't be happening. It tells you the whole dysfunction of the team build. It tells you the state of the current squad right now. A lot of players who should be on the pitch are not on the pitch. We are relying on things we should not be relying on to sort of save us in games. And they can only carry you that far. They can only carry you that far. So I wouldn't say we changed our style. It's City. City forced everybody to defend. I mean, if you don't expect to have the same possession as Manchester City, do you? No. You don't. And not this kind of squad, not this starting 11.
Yeah.
Expecting to go toe to toe with them. Eventually, they'll make you play the way they want you to play. And that's exactly what was happening. Just that it sort of benefited us in a way, but we just held the fort for as long as we could. Knock, 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 knock. Eventually, the door opened. And that was it. That was the game.
Well, the quality from City actually showed. Well, from what I saw, from what I saw from the game plan with Bruno up top as the false 9, McTominay behind as number 10, Garnacho on the right, Rashford on the left. For me, I think we set out to be very pragmatic from the way the game started and everything. I felt that we wanted to just sit back, soak in the pressure, because from the get-go, I think from the 15th minute, City had about 80% possession and we still had 20. And from the chance that we created, from that Onana kick, before that, there was this ball that we played through to Alejandro Garnacho, who went forward, but couldn't time his run very well, or couldn't time the pass very well and couldn't make the most out of it. Clearly, you knew that we were sitting back, soaking pressure, and then hitting them on the break. That was the first chance. Then came that chance created by Andre Onana, where he was able to pin that ball straight, hit it in behind. Bruno Fernandes was able to make a run because Nathan Ake had played him on, and he was ahead of his countryman, Ruben Diaz, was able to find a way to, get the ball back, pass it to Rashford for him to hit that rocket. We had 2 opportunities to actually add it up to make it 2-0, but Rashford couldn't head the ball down. I don't blame him so much. I mean, these are incidents in games that, those margins that you'd expect in games and all of that. So we clearly set out to sit back. That's my opinion. We clearly set out to sit back.
I don't agree, but then at the end of the day,
I get it. I also don't agree
whether we
with
did
you.
not sit back, whether we sat back, whether we did not sit back, eventually,
and that's the point I'm trying to make. That the game set out.
It still ended up in a defeat anyway.
The game set out to play out the way.
No, the argument here is people have been clamoring. People have been clamoring for Ten Hag to play pragmatically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
If let's assume, for the sake of argument, that we did set up pragmatically.
Yeah.
Eventually, we still lost 3-1.
Absolutely. So that is
my point is despite your clamor, not necessarily you, the clamor from some fans that we should play pragmatically, eventually it ended up in a team that played the least shots against City in the league.
You see,
it ended up in a 3-1 defeat. It ended up in us conceding 27 shots.
Perfectly. But the point from the people who make this argument has been to play to their strength. You saw as the issue that we had came exactly when Johnny Evans exited. And we saw the leadership he was showing when he was at the back. Now, there was a point where the City second goal came. It came from they trying to connect some passes. And Kambuala, you saw those 3 people, Kambuala, Casemiro, Varane, where they were able to pass and draw someone out. I assume if it was Dalu, the marking would have been better. But the coach had switched. I'm not blaming the coach. But at some point, if you are playing to the strength of your personnel, if Evans was there, I'm sure the combination by City would have been perfectly curtailed at that point. I'm not saying that playing pragmatically is necessarily going to give you results. What it meant is that we played to the strength of the players we had available. And that's it. We still lost. Kwame, of course, we all knew.
For 60 minutes.
Yeah.
Kwame, for 60 minutes, before Johnny Evans was taken on, City should have scored 4 or 5. Of course,
even in the first half, City should have scored 4.
Exactly. How is Erling Haaland missing that?
No, you see, don't.
What I'm trying to say.
Let's not mix the point, right? It's about playing to the strength.
No, you are trying to make it sound that you're trying to make it sound like no, you're trying to create a point that sounds like we playing more defensively made us better or made us more.
No, that is not the point I'm trying to
help
make.
us contain.
The point. No, let me clarify. Let me clarify the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is simple. Playing to the strength of the personnel available. That is the pragmatism you are talking about. The personnel available, their strength, right? And we saw how well we defended the box. And even the quality, the quality of shots that even got into our box was not as the ones we always observe. You get it? Because there were a lot of blocks. There were a lot of. So that's the whole point. But we lost. Fine, we lost. But the point people are making is sometimes when you have players who don't suit the style you are trying to play, it's just fair and sometimes wise that you play to their strength, because these are players who can't run, who can, when the ball is played in behind. One time where we squeezed and we pushed up, that was when Phil Foden had the opportunity to go one-on-one with Onana. And we quickly had to reverse that. You get the whole point. But we lost. That's how the game played out at the end of the day. But a lot of people have been questioning, at the end of the day, are we still going to make top four the back of everything that we have done? We had a poll. At the end of the day on our Twitter handle, at Man United Ball, where we put out, can United still make top four? And about 80% are saying no. Kwame, you are a staunch guy on top four. Do you still think we can make top four? Based on what has happened over the last 2 weeks.
The gap now is 11.
11, yes.
The goof here is not the City game. This City game had an L written all over it.
Of course.
3 months ago.
Of course.
The goof here is the game against Fulham. That was the goof. That was the game that we have to make up for.
Yeah.
The issue here is that we have the coach is talking about Rashford probably not making it. We already have Rasmus Højlund out. If these injuries continue, it will be very difficult for me to sort of hope that we can make top four. We are already stretched in terms of personnel. So it's personnel dependent.
Yeah.
I hope we have an international break coming up very, very soon. We have just one league game before that international break. It's against Everton at home.
Yeah.
We have to win that game to give us any chance, because if we do win that game, we would have 10 more league games to go. And after 10 league games, we'll probably need to go on a tear, probably win about 7 of them. The likes of Lisandro Martinez, Mason Mount, Rasmus Højlund will definitely be available. That will give you a bit more hope going into those final set of fixtures.
Yeah.
Top four is difficult because of the gap. But then again, I think Villa play Spurs very soon. Villa have big games as well. Spurs have big games as well. Spurs actually have a chain of games in succession against the top 3 sides. That could be their undoing. Fortunately for us, it's not just down to a top 4 thing when it comes to the Champions League. It may be down to a top 5. That's where we may have a lucky break. So I feel we may not make the top 4, but we could still qualify for the Champions League by getting 5th. I feel between the 2 teams, Aston Villa and Spurs, we can pick one of them to a position. If not both, we can definitely find ourselves in the sandwich between the 2 teams. Some way, somehow. I feel like we can still pull it off. But like I said before, it's personnel dependent. If I hear Rashford is injured in the course of the week, that sort of just puts an end to it, because even with him playing up top, the hope of us scoring goals isn't always great, because I don't think Rashford is the number 9. Even last season when he was banging in goals for us,
he was taking it from
I did not believe exactly. It was mainly from the left. So if these injuries keep on mounting, as our coach seems to imply, he's sort of saying it. Bruno Fernandes is hobbling. Rashford, our doctor is performing miracles on him. Johnny Evans was scheduled to play 60 minutes because he's not fit, but he had to play. If these things don't improve, then I'd concede that our top four hopes are gone. But I'm looking at get a win against Everton some way, somehow. Because I don't see us doing back-to-back defeat at home in the league. I don't see us doing that. I feel like we can get one over Everton. I'm not talking about the FA Cup game. It's
which comes up against Liverpool,
Exactly. Then 2 weeks, that's the end of this month. It's enough time to get some bodies back at current, especially if we decide to feign injury so that some players don't go on an international break. You know, this very last international break.
Yes. Teams have a way of getting their players to pull out.
Exactly.
And all of that. Yeah.
We have to find ways of getting our players to sort of do one for us and then stay behind Carrot and get fit for the last 10 games of the season. I feel like we can do it. I feel like we can pull it off. We may not make top four, but we can still qualify for the Champions League.
All right. So if you are watching, and we would like to hear from you from the comment section, please drop a comment. If you are watching, just drop a comment and let us know what you think about our top four hopes. If you really think United can make top four at the end of the season, what's your level of confidence like? Kwame has said that he believes it is personnel dependent. And he's also said that he doesn't believe that the coach will change his style. He will continue to play the way he's playing. Kwame, yes, you believe the coach won't change his style. But if you are Kwame, the coach, will you still play that style?
The thing is, like I was arguing with you before, I don't see what a change of style will actually do for us. I honestly don't see it, because you're asking Johnny Evans and the likes to just defend against the likes of Everton at home. No, we have to take the game to opposition. See, all I see now is go for it.
Yeah.
Because we have to go for it. Yeah. There is no point in actually sitting back in any game. It doesn't make sense. You go for it and you either win or you don't win. Because this team, like I've said to you countless times, the squad is simply not good enough. It's even worsened by the fact that we do not have the personnel available to us right now. You have to take a gamble. It's about the law of averages. Very often than not, if we come up against most of the teams in the league, we are better than them.
Yeah.
If we take the game to them, it's a basketball affair, as we've seen all the time. We are very likely to come up at the right end of those games with a win than not. The issue is when we come up against teams that are good enough to hurt us, as you've seen in a game against City, as you'll probably see in any game we play against any top 10 opposition. They have players to hurt you. But the point is, what are you holding back now? There's nothing to hold back. You go for it and hope to win. If you lose with the situation we find ourselves in, then you live with it, you die with it. That's just how it's going to be. I've seen this situation with teams over the past few years countless times. With Spurs, Spurs got into the Champions League a couple of seasons ago ahead of Arsenal, playing exactly this type of football. Arsenal chased them down till the very last game. I think they had a game in the London Stadium. And Arsenal got a very early red card. Spurs went on to win 3-0 and then got over the line. I've seen this several times with so many teams who are vying for a top 4 spot. You go for it. There's no point sitting back and being pragmatic against any team for any reason. Today's game, I would continue to say, it's City. They will force you to play the way they want you to play. It wasn't just down to us, the single team in the league, sit back. There is no way this 11 could have taken the game to Manchester City under any circumstance. They would have been forced to sit back. These players have a natural tendency to sit back anyway. Rafa Varane is spooked. Johnny Evans is spooked. They are not going to go full throttle, especially against Man. It made even more sense for them to defend their box. But even defending their box, they gave opportunity. I saw the game for over 70 minutes. I was sitting on tenterhooks at Where were we? Starbucks? Where do we have dinner today?
Dinner?
Yeah.
Subway.
Subway. She has to come into the Subway. On tenterhooks, hoping and praying for halftime because City were carving us open. Despite the fact that we're just hoofing the ball out of our box every single time and fans were impressed. You probably have to watch this game back. You probably do have to watch this game back. And you realize exactly what I'm talking about. Second half, the same bloody thing.
Yeah.
There is no point sitting back, Kwame. Go full throttle to the end of the season. Live and die by the results.
You see,
that's it.
You see, this is what perhaps you are not getting. If one says that be pragmatic, right? It doesn't mean sitting back in all of the games that you are playing. It basically means that you are assessing the strength of your squad, right? And then you check the strength of the opponent, then you fashion out a game plan that is either able to react, because if you decide to go gung-ho like we've done all season, leaving a lot of gaps and allowing teams to cut through us easily, you are playing yourself out in a way that gives the other team opportunity to score you. And I've said it many times. This current United team and the way the team is structured and the way the team plays, if United scores 5, the other team will have belief that he can also score 5. What do? Being pragmatic doesn't mean go and sit back against Everton. No. Being pragmatic means finding a way to plug those holes that gives Everton the belief that they can cut through us that easily. Last season, what we're doing was that we had 2 midfielders playing in the double pivot. This season, we are just having 1 midfielder sitting in front of the defense with 2-8. I'll try and see if we can project the structure of the game against Fulham. When we were attacking, we had about 5 players in the Fulham half, about 7 players actually. And then we had just 1 midfielder and then 2 of our defenders. The moment Casemiro loses the ball, what happens? We are
Kwame,
just
let me tell you something.
I'm
Kwame,
coming. Let me land, Kwame. Let me land.
Let me react to exactly what you're saying.
Let me land. What happens is that when Casemiro loses the ball, that is the structural issues that fans are talking about, that the team can do better. We can find a way of creating that balance of scoring and also preventing other teams from cutting through us so easily. It's as simple as that.
Not with the personnel that we have.
Not with the personnel that we have, but we did it last season with Casemiro and even with Eriksen next to him. And we're not being cut through that easily like that, Kwame.
Season, your reference. I'll refer you back to last season. Kwame, last season, back 4, I can show you a same infogram, a same diagram of the same setup from last season with a different back 4. Let me finish.
Yeah.
You would have Lisandro Martinez playing almost the entire season.
Yeah.
Rafa Varane played almost the entire season. Luke Shaw was barely injured.
Yeah.
Aaron Wan-Bissaka was barely injured. These players, when they played consistently all throughout the entire season, in the same system, it was almost entirely the same system. I can show you so many infograms from last season. I'll do that right after this game. I'll show you so many infograms. They were almost always set up the same way, but the execution was a lot better.
The execution was a lot better, but Kwame, you remember we played with 2 midfielders.
I'm not done.
2 midfielders, not 1.
No, Kwame, wait. I'm telling you, it is the same infogram. Same infogram means the same positions of the same players. That's what an infogram is. I'm comparing to exactly what you are referring to. And my point is that the only flaw from that system, that style of play with those players almost always available, was our goalkeeper, of which we made several complaints of. This season, you are having Lindelof playing at left back. For almost half the season, you're having Harry Maguire playing at left back. Johnny Evans shouldn't be playing for Manchester United. He's playing almost every game now. Rafa Varane surprisingly happens to be one of our fittest centre backs. Aaron Wan-Bissaka is no longer available. He's been displaced by Diogo Dalot to any stretch of the imagination. That is why I consistently say this structure is mainly flawed. Because a 35-year-old Evans, a 32-year-old Rafa Varane, a 30-year-old Harry Maguire, Victor Lindelof at left back. You cannot play anything structurally possible with that back four. It's not possible. It doesn't make sense. Yet, I've explained several times that I do understand exactly why he is still trying to do this, because you have to look beyond these players. I've said this example so many times. You see, fans are caught in emotions.
Mhm.
Fans are caught in the fact that, you know what, we bloody need to win a football game. What they do is they live in the moment. They do not see when they're doing revisionism, they do selective memory in revisionism. But you have to look at things broadly and in totality. That is why me and you come and sit on this podcast, to make people know that they should think beyond the box that they think into. I refer to Arsenal's time. They suffered to get here for a reason. They took hits, they took shots, they suffered like this. They went to the bloody Etihad in similar circumstances as we did today, 2 years ago, and lost 5-0. Their fans left the first half at halftime. Their fans were leaving the stadium. They were telling us Mikel Arteta was clueless. You remember this? I know you remember. You can play it back in your mind. You remember this? They were saying Mikel Arteta was clueless. Because why do you go there with David Luiz? You go there with the likes of Socrates. You go there with the likes of Maitland-Niles and left back, and go and play an attacking style of football against Manchester City and get walloped. They told you Arteta out, but he did not change. They stood by him, they stuck with him, and they went like, all we need to do is go with the plan, go with the process, go with the damn project.
Our time is up.
Sack all those useless players. No, let me finish. We'll sack all those useless
our
players.
Time is up.
And once you replace them with the players that you want, it will work. And they did not work. They did not work.
Our time is about too soon.
Don't live in the moment. Think outside the box, Kwame. Think outside the box.
Our time is up. Erik Ten Hag, fix the structural issues. That is one school of thought. We are saying fix the structural issues. You can't leave one midfielder in there and leave that big hole for a 32-year-old Casemiro to fit. It doesn't work that way. Thank you for joining us on United and Everything Football Podcast. We hope you've enjoyed it. We really, really hope you've enjoyed it. It took a different turn today. It was pure banter. We really, really hope you enjoyed your time with us. As usual, remember to hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell if you really enjoyed the arguments we've had today. We will continue the arguments some other time. Please leave your comments in the comment section, and also always remember to like, share, and comment with your friends. We are back in the course of the week to discuss the game against Everton and all the matters that will be arising here on United and Everything Football. Have a great time and see you in the course of the week.